Fast forward 10 years. The world is desperate for carbon capture, and a fierce technological arms race is shaping the future of global power. Nations are fighting not over oil, not over land, but over who can pull carbon from the sky the fastest. And the country that wins this invisible war will control the economy, the energy system, and the geopolitical map of the 21st century. But who is winning the race right now? And is your country already falling behind? 10 years from now, the world will be racing after one technology that decides the future of energy, economy, and global power. A technology that no country can survive without. A technology that will determine who rises and who collapses. And this war won't be over oil, gas, or minerals buried beneath the ground. It will be over carbon floating in the sky. Humanity will be fighting to pull carbon out of the atmosphere, and the country that wins this race will become the next global superpower. Carbon was once seen as just an environmental issue, but today it has quietly transformed into the biggest economic and geopolitical fight of the 21st century. Carbon emissions have grown so dangerously high that simply reducing them is no longer enough. Nations must now capture the carbon already in the air, or face a collapse of ecosystems, economies, and energy systems. This is where carbon capture technology stops being a climate tool and becomes the foundation of global dominance. Major players have already jumped into this race. The United States is offering the biggest tax credits in its history to help companies build carbon capture plants. China is pouring state-backed investment to turn carbon capture into its next export powerhouse. The European Union is embedding this tech into its energy security strategy. Meanwhile, countries like Canada, Australia, and the UAE see carbon capture as their ticket to future economic leadership. Carbon capture comes in two major forms, and these two forms define the battlefield of this global tech war. The first is direct air capture, machines that pull carbon directly out of the air. This tech is extremely expensive today, but if perfected, it could literally clean the atmosphere. The second is point source capture, capturing carbon from factories and power plants before it escapes. This method is cheaper, but cannot clean the entire sky. Global powers must now decide: pursue the cost-efficient short-term tech, or the ultimate long-term solution. The United States has a massive advantage: the Inflation Reduction Act. This law gives huge financial rewards for every ton of carbon captured. Because of this, America is quickly transforming into the world's largest carbon capture hub. Companies see the U.S. as the most profitable place to build new plants, and the government is essentially standing behind each project with financial support. China, however, sees carbon capture not as a climate issue, but as a tool of global control. China already dominates solar panels, electric vehicles, and battery manufacturing. Now it wants to dominate carbon capture too. Dozens of huge projects are being built with direct government funding. China aims to flood the world with cheap carbon capture technology, just like it did with solar. Europe is also moving fast. The EU has placed a direct cost on carbon emissions. Companies must pay for every ton of CO they release. This creates massive pressure for industries to adopt carbon capture. Europe is deploying capture plants rapidly, but its challenge is funding. Unlike America's tax credits or China's state financing, Europe struggles to match the same scale of investment. Economically, carbon capture will redefine global markets. In the next 20 years, the carbon capture industry is projected to reach at least $5 trillion. Countries leading this field won't just sell technology. They will control the future of energy, shipping, chemicals, and even agriculture. Carbon itself will become a new global commodity, just like oil once was. Imagine a world where some nations store carbon underground, earning money by keeping emissions locked away. Others convert captured carbon into fuels, plastics, and industrial materials. Some countries will have the perfect geology for storage and will become the new carbon-rich nations, the Saudi Arabias of the carbon era. Pipelines, cross-border CO shipping routes, and carbon storage hubs will form a new global infrastructure network. This technology will disrupt geopolitics in ways we're only beginning to understand. Just as the semiconductor race shaped global alliances and rivalries, the carbon tech race could realign world power. Nations with the best carbon technology will influence global policies, energy prices, and industrial supply chains. Old alliances may weaken, and new partnerships might emerge around shared carbon strategies. The impact on global energy will be massive. If carbon capture becomes cheap and widespread, fossil fuel economies may get a second life. They can continue producing energy while capturing the emissions. On the other hand, countries without access to capture tech could fall behind economically. This may widen the gap between rich and poor nations, creating a new global divide. But there is also a danger. If carbon capture technology remains concentrated in a few powerful nations, the world could see a new kind of technology arms race. Wealthy countries will clean their air, while poorer countries drown in pollution. This imbalance could fuel tensions, trade conflicts, and political instability. So who is winning the race right now? The United States and China are clearly in the lead. The U.S. has money and policy support. China has manufacturing speed and expansion power. Europe has climate regulations that force adoption. Canada and Australia have ideal geology for storage. The Middle East has energy infrastructure ready for conversion. Based on current trends, the U.S. may become the largest carbon capture market, but China may dominate production and global exports. In the long run, this could set up a direct clash between American innovation and Chinese industrial power, just like the fight over EVs and semiconductors. And what does this mean for people like you? Energy prices will shift. New industries will rise. Millions of jobs will move toward carbon engineering, storage, and advanced energy. Countries that invest today will become powerful tomorrow. Countries that ignore carbon capture may fall behind in global competitiveness. This race will define the next generation of global power, whether we like it or not. The final question every viewer must ask is simple. Will the world choose cooperation or conflict? If nations work together, carbon capture could reverse decades of environmental damage and create a stable global economy. But if countries fight over the technology, patents, pipelines, and resources, the carbon war may become more dangerous than any energy conflict before it, because this time, the battleground isn't the ground beneath our feet, it's the air above our heads.